that appendix you're talking about, and those tonsils are to catch infection before it can bust out. Well, it's funny you haven't got worked out yet, Charlie. You go home and pray a while, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. And Voltaire and Russo were there, of course, you know. Then Althusser and all the boys from Emory, and Russo led the conversation and said, "But, Monsieur, there is no God. You cannot see God. You cannot prove God. Monsieur, how can you prove there is a God?" Well, that's very simple. There's no particular problem there. You see this watch you got here? Oui, oui, monsieur. Well, this just fell out of the sky the other day. Purely by accident. It just evolved, and there it is. See, that's a marvelous piece of workmanship there that just came from a dust cloud. But surely, monsieur, one is giving the joke. No, I'm not giving a joke. It just flung itself together. That's perfectly apparent. Monsieur, one must not joke at a time like this. Well, to be right frank with you, I think a creator made this watch. And you fellows come here and trying to give me all this gas about this dust cloud floating around, kicking out galaxies, where the whole thing hangs together and doesn't smack into each other and rotates at proper intervals so close you can set your clocks by. Are you trying to tell me no creator put that thing up? Look at here. If I want to move back the hand in this clock, I just pull out this thing right here and set that hand back, and I've violated the law by which that clock was made. And gentlemen, I want to tell you right now, the God that made this universe can violate laws any time he wants to and perform miracles. And let's make it whether you call them miracles or not. If there's a creation, there's a creator. If there's a design, there's a designer. If there are laws, there's a lawyer, gentlemen. And if they're his laws, he can alter them or change them or revise them at will. But monsieur, says Voltaire, this terrible doctrine about hell, do you want us to believe that the man is tortured in the fire forever? Ah, monsieur, what a repulsive doctrine. Well, now, you know, your trouble there, Voltaire, is largely, you're getting ready to move in. You know, it's been my experience when you find a man reconditioned in hell and air conditioning, it's because he's about to move in. And I can understand why you fellows don't like us talking about hell. I mean, if anybody talked about my home that way, I wouldn't enjoy it either. Now, the fact of the matter remains that if you sin against a man, you can pay for it in 60 or 70 years. A day of our years at least 4 and 10. But if a man sins against God, gentlemen, how long is it's going to take him to pay for it? God is eternal. I mean, you deists at least buy that. You say he's an eternal being. Well, the breaking of his laws is the transgression against him. And when will you be paying for it? 70 years? And the old philosophers and psychologists and head shrinkers and fellows just had a fit and flipped and threw up their hands and blew out a clutch plate and blew their gaskets and busted their valves and split their blocks, you know, and all that kind of business. Blew out a few gaskets and had a terrible time about it. And every day ended just about the same way. All of them agreed that you ought to tear up some of the Bible, but none of them could exactly agree how much you ought to tear up or where you ought to quit tearing it up. And when they got through, they'd all stand up, and they had to for Solomon. And Solomon would bow before them and say, "Gentlemen, till this same time tomorrow, shalom aleichem, and let God be true and every man a liar." And this would always bring about furious cries and frustrated rage. And the American delegation, headed up by Buckrit Peel and Carson Blake, would always foam at the mouth and hide it under a smile and about have a heart attack and maintain an outward calm and shake hands and think positively while they're trying to keep the situation in hand.